By the end of this video, I want you to know 3 habits that will mean that you can get a better night's sleep tonight, in fact. But first, as always, subscribe and stick on to the end to implement these tips and tricks into your life. Now, the first habit that you need to actually get a good night's sleep is catharsis and journaling. Now, I used to journal in the mornings all the time, immediately after I woke up, but once I sort of realized what this was and how I could use it to help my sleep, I decided to switch my journaling to the evenings. And what I do, I go through my normal journaling practices, my deep journaling, then my 3 things I was grateful for today, and after that, I do a little list of the things that I wanted to get done tomorrow. Maybe it was recording videos, scripting videos, maybe it was seeing this person, sending this email, doing this thing, doing that, doing whatever it was, I put it down, I write it down, and then I put a little checkbox next to it, and if I then got it done the next day in the evening, then I check it, and yeah, that was all I do, because simply writing down what I wanted to get done the next day meant that when I would go into bed, like an hour, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, I wouldn't have all these thoughts on my mind of things that I wanted to get done tomorrow, because it was already down inside of my journal and I got my thoughts down onto paper just to cleanse my mind, and meant my mind wasn't racing so much when I went to bed, and that would mean that I'd fall asleep so much quicker and my quality of my sleep would increase dramatically, and I'd end up sleeping for a longer duration as well, because my brain wasn't bombarded with so many subconscious thoughts of how I was going to solve any issues that were potentially going to come up in the days after. But I actually haven't really been doing this for a while, and that's not because I've sort of stopped doing this catharsis and worry journaling habit. It's simply because I sort of transferred it to a different medium. I still do my journaling and my gratitude journaling in the evening, and in that I may talk about things that I really want to get done tomorrow that are incredibly important, but now I mostly just sort of schedule my days on a calendar. Google Calendar, iPhone Calendar, all of that kind of stuff. It can be perfect for you to organize your life and sort of have this peace of mind when you go to bed, because you know what you're going to be doing when you end up waking up the next morning. And that is a perfect way to end your night and start off your day, by sort of just knowing what you're going to be doing and it not sort of being on your mind and plaguing your mind and causing you to not get as good sleep quality as you possibly could and potentially even should. I also think this may actually have been better than the journaling, because it now means that my days are a lot more organized and all this stuff is in time blocks. I don't have these checkboxes saying do this and do that and do that. Now I have to do this at that time, this at a separate time, and then this in the evening, or whenever I actually choose to sort of schedule these things inside of my day. And I was quite disorganized before, but now my brain feels a lot more sort of organized and just a lot better, and it gives me peace of mind, and means that when I go to bed in the evening, I know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow, and it just feels a lot better. It just feels a lot better, and I end up falling asleep a lot quicker because I know exactly what I'm going to be doing the next day. And the second habit that means I get a better night's sleep is waking up and going to bed at the exact same time pretty much every single day. Of course, there are going to be late nights, there are going to be things that come up in the evening which mean that I can't exactly go to bed at the exact set time that I want to go to bed, but that's why I set an half an hour time block, and in this time block, that's when I go to bed. So if events come up in sort of the day or something that means that I'm going to be out for longer than I need to in the evening, it means that I can sort of get home sort of hopefully at the end of the time block and still be able to go to bed inside of this little half an hour time block. Now, this could be from anywhere from like midnight to half past midnight for you. For me, it is 9:30 to 10 o'clock, and this half an hour sleeping block, if I am at home, I will go to bed at 9:30 pretty much every single day, but if something does go up, I will just go to bed pretty much as early as I can, and there will be some late nights, some things that are unavoidable, or I'm out with friends that mean that I can't get to bed at the exact same time that I want to do. But even if I do have a late night, I will wake up at the exact same time every single day, which is 7 o'clock in the morning. And while I've only really been doing 7 o'clock in the morning for the sort of summer period from June to August, and then I'll go back to 6 o'clock when school starts again. 7 o'clock, it's not really that big of a jump from 6 o'clock compared to what many people do with sort of weekend lay-ins. Many people don't even wake up at the same time every single day. In the weekdays, they may get up quite early to go to work or to go to school, and then in the weekend, they will lay in till maybe 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and this is quite a shock to your bodily clock and your bodily system. You can't be waking up at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock 5 days a week and then 11 o'clock and 10 o'clock for 2 days a week, your body just does not work and handle that very well whatsoever. And yeah, it just doesn't simply work. And I'm very, very surprised that people can actually manage this without sort of seeing a lot of sort of impairment in their ability to do things well in their daily life, especially on the weekends and in the holidays, where people will jump from being at 6 o'clock to then getting up at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon and then going to bed at like 2 a.m. in the morning even. It's quite confusing how people actually manage to sort of do that sort of stuff, but I guess they do. But weekend lay-ins and holiday lay-ins have always baffled me, and I'm pretty much up at the same time, 7 o'clock on the dot. That's when my alarm goes every single day. And then when college comes, and well, it would have already been by the time this video comes out, but for me, I've got like another week left of the summer holidays. But then when college comes, I'll start waking up at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and that will be absolutely perfect for me, and I will be able to carry that through for the entire year. And I won't bother sort of waking up at 7 o'clock in the holidays. I'll just sort of stay at 6 o'clock all the way through the half terms, through the Christmases, through the Easter holidays, and then when the long summer 6-week period comes, I'm going to go back to just doing 7 o'clock, and that's just what works for me. But the problem is that many people, they do have to get up really, really, really early for school and for work, despite the fact that they're not a morning person. I'm a morning person, and I'm very, very grateful and thankful for that, because work systems and school systems are catered to me. School starts very, very early in the morning at 8:30. However, the problem is that someone's sort of 9-hour sleep block, the hours that are optimal to sleep in for them, could be from midnight to 9 o'clock in the morning, and that means that they're going to end up missing school starts if that was their sort of sleep block, which is the exact same time they will go to bed and the exact same time they wake up every single day. That sleep block runs into school, because this person may be a night owl and not really a morning person, and so school is not catered for them, and so they have to go to bed at like midnight every single night and then wake up at 7 o'clock when they have to go to school. And this means that in the holidays they'll end up waking up at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, which really is such a shock to the system and is incredibly bad for a lot of parts of your body, especially your gut, because your gut isn't actually sort of active when you're asleep, and if you're sleeping for too long throughout the day, it ends up just not working properly, and your digestion won't be as effective as it normally is when you only really sleep the normal sort of 8 to 9, maybe even 10 hours every single day. And if this is the situation for you, then there are 2 ways that I've come up with that should help you overcome this issue. And the first one is to simply be disciplined, and that may seem quite insensitive, but it is, with the way the school system works, it is the only way. Don't get up later on the weekends, don't have lay-ins on the weekends, don't have lay-ins in the holidays, and let your body clock adjust to being able to sort of go to bed at 10 p.m. at night and then 7 o'clock in the morning, because that is possible for your body to do, and it's better than sort of creating these massive gaps and shocks to the system between your weekdays and weekends and even your holidays as well. And the second way that you can overcome this issue is if you are in school and you have that sort of 6-week long period of a break where you don't really have to get up and do much in the mornings, then you can sort of ease up when you leave school and you've now got nothing to do. For the first week or so, you wake up 30 minutes after 7 o'clock, so 7:30, and then each week you increase it. And then when it's starting to get to the next term, the next year, you then gradually decrease it by half an hour until you're back at 7 o'clock by the time you end up getting into the new term. And that's not going to be such a shock to the system, to your body, and hopefully it will benefit your gut and your health a lot more than you may immediately notice. But trust me, the delayed gratification will pay off, and you will see a much better experience with your sort of digestion, because your gut is now able to sort of function properly, because you have sort of a proper set sleeping block. Maybe it's from midnight to 9, but now you have to change it to 10 to 7 over like gradually using a bit of discipline. And if you then do want to lay in the summer, you can gradually sort of increase the time that you wake up, and just sort of keep the time that you end up going to bed the same. And yeah, hopefully things will work out for you if school and work sort of gets in the way of your natural sleep block, especially if you're a night owl, as these school systems and work systems are especially designed for people who are morning people like me, which I'm incredibly grateful for and I'm incredibly lucky for, but many people don't really have that same luck and experience, so that's why I sort of came up with those 2 things that may help you. And the third habit that means that I sleep very well at night now is morning sunlight. And this will only be a quick one. It's literally just I get out of bed and I go outside and I let the sunlight flow into my eyes, and that signals to the internal systems of my body that it is time to wake up and take on the day, I suppose. And it can also give you a lot of vitamin D for the morning sunlight, which is very useful for other things like hormone production and just your general bodily function. And morning sunlight for 5 minutes or so, maybe you want to do some exercises or some meditation or some journaling while you are outside to sort of pass the time, instead of just like kind of standing in the middle of the street or the middle of your garden or the middle of your balcony or whatever. You can do some things while you're outside, and yeah, I highly recommend morning sunlight because it will benefit you in so many ways. And this means that when you wake up and you get morning sunlight, your body now will start to adjust to normally waking up at that time. And that sort of relates to the first way that you can overcome the things, which is discipline. And if you just get some morning sunlight at the time where you're going to need to start waking up for school or for work, that's going to make your life so much easier. But obviously, as always, get up and go to bed at the same time pretty much every day if you can, bar a few circumstances like late nights, like things where you have a lot going on, and whatever. But with that, I hope you found value at this video, and I also recommend subscribing because I love this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have, and good luck.